Alright, welcome back to episode 2, guys, where you're going to see me not finish this tub off because there's so much we have to do before we can finish the tub off. But in today's episode, we're going to finish off the headboard, finish off the rooftop mount, and then that's it, because we can't cut flares or make tubs or anything until our chassis gets here, and chassis are a dime a dozen. So let's get into this episode where we finish off this tub. Alright, so Mickey came and dropped our rooftops off for us. But this is actually a bit of history on this tub. Mickey really wanted it, and then I full snaked it from him because he wasn't quick enough. So what do you think, mate? Do you still want it?
I'll take it once it's all fixed. I'll let you fix all the holes up for me, and I'll take it.
If you haven't seen Mickey's Instagram, jump over to Mickey Fair. He's got a sick GQ, taking a little bit of inspiration from it. It's pretty wild, that thing.
Big fanboy over here.
And thanks, Mickey, for dropping off the rooftops, buddy.
No worries.
You little f***ing dude. All right, so I've basically built this whole tub rack around this. Now, I won the argument. Sam didn't get a say. I got an X-tent and it's sick. So this is the Outback Tourer 1.4 X-tent. Now, mostly you get the 1.2 to fit on the top of most dual cabs and stuff. But because we've got the privilege of having a tub and sitting it down on the tub, I can afford to get the 1.4, which is a lot wider. Let's unbox it, we'll get it on the hoist, and we'll chuck it on the back of the GQ so we can kind of see if the headboard's gonna work. That might have to change.
Ah, see, excellent, very good.
I'll show you why I chose X-tent. These are my favorite things on the market. So, usual tent, up like that. Not this one. Has this extra room at the bottom. Now, it may not look like it's a lot of room, but trust me, once you're in there, it makes a drastic difference. You can
put some lights.
And then, hold on, it's
Got a pole.
Oh wait, we're not done. Okay.
Even more room.
There's more than meets the eye with this tent. So your usual tent finishes there and has your rain fly. Once again, not this one. Room out the front as well for an extra window. You literally can't go wrong with an X-tent. I can't believe Sam tried to get me to get a usual tent. It's literally a palace.
Good.
And because of the pop down here, this goes higher than usual as well, because normally that would be like here. Because you have, it's literally just the best thing ever.
A few moments later.
I have something to admit, and it's hard for me to do this because I'm never wrong, but I may have been this time. So with the X-tent, I accounted for the height of the X-tent. I did not account for the 13 degrees of slope on the headboard to match the GQ. Therefore, the X-tent comes up. It narrowly clears my headboard by 1 millimeter. However, not when I make it wider. So I have to change it. We're gonna have to run a regular tent so Sam can set the tent up and get into the tub at camp. Everyone was rooting for me, but I f***ed up. F*** off, Sam.
Hello. All right, we're on the road again. We're heading back to Brisbane for a couple of reasons. Number one, I feel like I won the, well, I didn't win anything, but I was right. The X-tent's not gonna work, so I think we filmed, we unboxed the tent, we were about to put it on. We did put it on. I don't know if we got any content. We got some photos. You got photos?
I didn't really want to admit the problem, so I pretended that it never happened.
Look, it worked-ish, and I would have been fine for it to not pop up and lift, but even having it popped when it was closed, it would still hit the headboard, yeah. It was still hitting the headboard even when it was down. So it was just not gonna work full stop, which sucks. So we are on the way to Outback Tourer to swap the tent for one of their just standard ones, a little slimline. It'll just give it a heap more room. So
Still a 1.4 though.
yeah, we're still going the wide tent. Still a 1.4. Also, we've got the car trailer dropping that back, so we're going to pick up a chassis now. A bit of research, a couple of the boys, chatting to guys. we're going to go with a wagon chassis, which means it's got the right wheelbase, the right length of chassis off the back, because it's a really long tub. So we're going to get this. It's cheap, it's like $500. We'll strip it, take it home and make our own tray mount, so it'll put the tub on the back. But yeah, it's just a lot easier and a lot cheaper to find a wagon chassis than it is to find a ute. But it is coil cab, coil rear end, and it will just save us a lot of time there. So drop off tent, pick up chassis, get back to work.
Does anyone else hate when Google Maps reckons you take Gympie Arterial Road and then you hit 1,000 lights through Brisbane and the traffic's always absolutely f***ed and you get to your destination half an hour later than you should, but it's the quickest way when there's tunnels that take you the whole way through Brisbane? Because I love that. I don't know if anyone else does.
I'm sure people in WA could totally relate, and Melbourne and anywhere else but here. Brisbane traffic. We say Brisbane traffic, but you know what's worse? Sydney and Melbourne.
Nah, you know what's worse? Perth, bro. Perth is cool.
Not.
It's 40 minutes. So this is what we worked out on our last trip. Adelaide, everywhere is 8 minutes. It's a full simulation. You can go from one end of Adelaide to the other in 8 minutes. Anywhere in Adelaide is 8 minutes. It's weird as It's Perth, anywhere is 40 minutes. You want to go get a bite to eat, bro. The walk to the cafe is 40 minutes, and the drive would be 40 as well. Perth is way worse.
Alrighty, so we've got the tent now from Outback Tour. It's all loaded up and we've just pulled up for this chassis. So it's sitting out here. There's a bit of weeds around it, but it's only been sitting outside for maybe 3 or 4 weeks. So it's the chassis we can use because it's a wagon. It means it has the right length, but we're gonna have to obviously cut all these mounts off and put on our own ute brackets. So it'll be pretty easy because we'll be able to set the 2 chassis next to each other and pretty much match like the ute mounts for this chassis. So flick off the diffs, sell all those bits and pieces. Pretty much the only thing we'll keep is the rails themselves. So now the mission is to get it out of here, get it on the trailer, and get her home. So hopefully our winch works on the trailer because it's been a bit dodgy. Oh, we didn't film getting it on because it was a bit of a 3-man job. Anyway, we're gonna hit the road, get home, start stripping this thing.
So I lost the battle. Everyone in the comments roasted me, said that we need practicality, so I guess we're going with the standard tent. Now there's nothing wrong with this tent. It's still a great tent. I just have a weird connection to X tents. So we're gonna put this on and test how practical it is, so all you in the comments can shut your mouth. So we've just thrown this rooftop on and now it's starting to clear everything, which is pretty good. It's perfectly wide enough being the 1.4 and it looks nice and slim sitting on this rack. Once the rack's black, you won't even see it's there. So we'll just open it up real quick and see if it clears as is. Works like a dream. All right, so the tent fits and when it's fully opened, you can still open it just like how Sam wanted. So you can still get into the back when the tent's open, which is pretty good. Have to change a little bit out of this frame, but it's to be expected. This headboard design's kind of just hurting us at the moment. I've took the rails off the tent, which you really shouldn't do. It voids your warranty, but I've done that and then bolted it through the frame directly to the tent so it sits nice and flush. And I've also put some little clips in here. So you clip it down while you're driving. It doesn't go anywhere. All right, so I've just gone and boxed up these little sections here with some small plates I cut out on the plasma cutter. Now what I'll do is take it off the car, weld it out, blend it off completely so it's just like a seamless 25mm thick headboard. This is an extremely long and tedious process, but you just gotta trust the process and hope it looks good when you're finished. So we're gonna rip that off now and then start welding out, blend off, and should be sweet.
New X, new X, new X, new X, new X on me right. New X, new X, new X, new X, new X on me right. I might spin it, I might spin it, I might spin it, I might spin spend it, I might spend it, I might spend it. New racks, new racks, new racks.
All right, so once I've gone through the grinding process with a 60 and an 80 grit, it still leaves some pretty deep scratches and doesn't really do a nice finish. So then we'll move on to an orbital sand. Now we just got this orbital sander from SP. It's just a pneumatic one, and SP is known for their great quality in air tools, and it definitely shows. This thing's probably one of the most used tools in the shed, not gonna lie. With paint work, fab work, this thing's copped an absolute beating and it's still good to go. But then you just run the orbital down here with a 36 grit on an orbital, and then you move to a 60 grit, and that kind of gives you like a nice finish. This is only like a 5-minute segment for you guys, but it's been about 2 days for us. So let's keep going on this and get it finished perfect. Rightio, so as you've seen, we got the headboard blended off and we've now put it on the car. It's just sitting there for like a idea. But today we're gonna start washing and stripping the GQ coil chassis that we got.
New racks, new racks, new racks, new racks, new racks on me right. New racks, new racks, new racks, new racks, new racks on me right. I might spin it, I might spin it.
So we've got a bit of work to do on the chassis. Like rust wise, there's absolutely none, not even under the coil towers, which is pretty common for GQs, but it's in really good nick, just surface rust. There's a bit of work we got to do. Got to cut out obviously the long arm brackets on the bottom. We've got to weld on some ute brackets for the tub. And I noticed the tub has a lot of little spaces along it as well, like support beams for the tub along the chassis, so we're gonna have to weld a few of them on as well. Get ready to do the hydros in the front and rear as well. So that's, you gotta cut out the bottom of your shock mount and stuff, your coil mount, sorry. So yeah, there's a lot to do today, so we're gonna kick in by washing it first. Tech tip, when you buy your GQ, you can see these. They're really good frisbees and you never go get them. They're shit. They trap all the dirt in. You can't wash these out. It's exactly what you do with them when you get them. My GQ had the same thing. All problems. Alright, so as we've seen, we bought a wagon chassis because ute chassis are impossible to find. So with the wagon chassis, obviously you've got different mounts for your tray mount. So we're just going to cut these off, and then you can get like a ute kit online to just weld on your own chassis bracing and ute tray mounts. So we're just going to do that, or we'll probably make our own tray mounts because it's a lot easier. But yeah, so you just start by like cutting these stitch welds and then just smash them off. Clean the chassis, prep it, and then we'll just make up some tray mounts to suit this tub.
Hi guys!
Now Mitch did do a little talking segment on this, but his mic wasn't bloody working. So what we're doing here is notching out the chassis. It's required if you're doing a lift over 3 or 4 inches, or if you're creating a suspension setup with a lot of down travel like we are. It makes your drive shaft clear. You also got to flip it so that the skinny side is up the top as well, and you have no dramas with that.
All right, so we've gone and done that cross member mount and knocked all these body mounts off. Now the next thing we're going to be doing is working out our tray mounts. So the first one I've measured from body mount back to sort out where our first tray mount goes and the correct height of it. Now I've noticed with the coil and leaf chassis, it has a different height from here to here, but that should be fine. We'll be able to get away with that with the tub pretty much sitting flat on here. So first thing we're going to do is mount the first 2 front tray mounts, and obviously I've measured back, so that's fine, but then we're going to get a laser level out and try and laser level them so like the rest of the heights won't be changing. And after this, after we've got our tray mounts tacked on and our long arm front mounts on, we'll be able to get the chassis 3D scan, and we're going to make up our own chassis bracing as well. So we're cracking into that. I've gone and cut these out on the plasma cutter. I've basically just cut out 2 side plates, the backing plate, and then keywayed them so they can just sit together, and makes it a bit easier to weld and just line everything up. So we're going to slap them together on the front, make sure they're perfect straight and the right heights, then we'll get the laser level out and do the rest of them. Right, now we've got these centered, tacked up, so we're just going to tack them onto the chassis. I'm going to tack on every mount. I'm not going to weld anything out until we have the cab and tub on to make sure all the levels are right, but just give these a quick hit onto the chassis. Then I'll put the other one on, same thing, and then we'll be able to measure them, find out where our hole needs to go for the top piece, and then we can laser level, figure out where the rest go. All right, so that's about all we can do on this for now, because now Sammy and I have to go down to Melbourne to go to the Keep It Read event. So stay tuned for that. That should be coming out next week. That's going to be a cool one. And then we can get back and start cracking back into this thing.